Alright, looks like we are live, everybody. Let's get this thing started. Let me stand up real quick. Alright, well, happy Thursday, everybody. It is the final Thursday of the month, which would make today our Beyond the Traditional Camera class. For all of those of you who've been with me since the since our first week of the month, thanks for joining me. I appreciate having you here. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be covering today. Today is the last Thursday of this month, which means, it's Beyond the Traditional Cameras. What does that fully entail? Let me actually, I got the hiccups. Here, let me switch this over. There we are. So, what does it mean beyond the traditional camera? We want to learn a little bit more about things that are cameras or can be used to help us take photos, videos, all that good jazz, but aren't necessarily a DSLR or mirrorless camera. There are multiple options out there that make it a little bit different, make it unique, and each one kind of offers something a little bit different than the next. But what are the main reasons why we'd want to advance past the traditional camera system that we are, used to or we're using? Portability and travel is a big one. Anybody who goes out, you're taking photos, you're taking videos, and you're actually bringing your gear from shoot to shoot, know how heavy and how annoying it can be to carry this stuff from place to place. So this stuff is easy to take around with you, easy to travel with. It's durable at the same time. Things like the GoPro, the 360 camera, action cameras, they can actually go underwater as well. They can be whipped around. They're fantastic. That leads into the waterproofing. Recording is huge on this stuff. Because these cameras are used to record video or to shoot more content for video, they have really good record times and the ability to record for good distances, even when you're flying as well too, but much like the drones. So why move past this? The idea is that we are adding more tools to our tool belt. We are just trying to add more things that can make our photos, our videos, better than before. And that's the key to take away that we're trying to get out of this guy. We're trying to get more out of what we're using right now. Let's start with pictures. Where do they go, and make sure you have two of them? With these smaller products, we're most likely talking about micro SD cards. Now, camcorders are going to come up in this, and they typically use standard SD cards. But for GoPros, DJI products, 360 cameras, action cameras, gimbals, on the phone gimbals, they all are going to use micro SD cards. Most of these cameras that we're talking about today have some to no internal storage, so you need to have a micro SD card to save your video files. You want something with a good read and write speed. This doesn't mean you have to buy the most expensive card, but I wouldn't cheap out and buy an entry-level card because it won't be able to support the amount of data you have coming into the camera. And I'd recommend at least 64 gigabytes. If you can afford 128 or 256, it's much more preferred, but 64 should be the minimum. Your picture should never live on your memory card. The idea behind the memory card is that you can use these products to take and save your video when you're shooting. The way I like to look at it, and the way I think about this, is that your memory card is meant to be like your car. If your home is point A and work is point B, your car takes you from point A to B. Well, in the sense of a memory card, if point A is your camera and point B is your computer, your memory card should be just taking it back and forth between the two devices. So again, should they live on there? No. Should you keep them on there? I wouldn't. I would save the files and then delete the card. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. It's the step-by-step for what I would do to do all that. So, step one, land your drone or turn the camera unit off. After that, wait at least 5 seconds. Remove the card and paste it into a card reader. The best practice is always to remove the card. Try to avoid using the camera to send pics to and from. Now again, some of these softwares and systems have an app you can download that'll then help you transfer and move all the information. That's totally fine, but I would still recommend downloading it all onto the computer so you have the better files, you have it saved into a secondary location, just so that way you cover all the bases, just in case something ends up not being where you thought it was or not being downloaded. Use a good card reader. You could go online and buy really any reader that you like, people, but I would recommend making sure you get something of good quality. There's so many different models out there, so many different things, that they also have different use cases as well too. So pick one that works best for you and your use case. If you're traveling, you probably want something more portable and convenient. If you're working at a stationary, desktop computer at home, you maybe want something that's more rigid, more solid. So think about that when you're making your purchase. Next, you want to copy those to a destination folder. All your photos, you're going to move them, not copy them, not move, to a destination folder. What you're doing here is twofold. One, you're making sure that if for any reason this transfer gets disrupted or stopped, you didn't physically move everything, you just duplicated it onto your computer. The second thing is that by doing this, you're creating a file onto the computer that's allowing you to access everything from the memory card. That makes sense. Now your destination folder can be labeled whatever you'd like it to be. I typically will name it the event at which I took photos or videos, but whatever makes the most sense for you. If you'd rather just date the images, again, whatever makes most sense. If you're using Windows, you're going to use Explorer to find the images, and if you're using Mac, you're going to use Finder. Next thing is to copy photos to a second place. Again, not moving them, copying them, because we're duplicating in case something goes wrong. And for that, I'd recommend something like an external hard drive or cloud-based solutions like Prime Photos or Google Drive. All of those would be great options. Next, I want to eject the card before physically removing it. I want to format the card in the camera, and I'd rather not erase anything on the reader. I'd rather format the card in the camera. That will delete everything there. But if you prefer to delete the card while it's in the reader, by all means you can do that. Again, that's the beauty of this, is that this is how I do it. This is my step-by-step. But if you've got a quicker way or a way that makes more sense to you, by all means, do it the way that you like the most. Now here's your backup plan, one more time. Starts with the SD card. That's what's taking in the information from your camera. Your computer comes next. You're going to physically plug the SD card in and download the information from it to the computer. Lastly, you're going to use a hard drive or a cloud-based solution to have a secondary copy of the product that you took photos or video of. Again, you want to make sure you have a backup. In case something were to go wrong, you want to have the ability to get back to it. Now that's probably the most boring part of this class. We just want to make sure we know how to save all of it. You should try a cloud-based solution if you're not a fan of hard drives. If you've never tried a cloud-based solution, a lot of these are free. They're part of your email. They're part of your maybe work. If you're using things like Photoshop, they might be a part of Photoshop because you do get the Creative Cloud. Now let's start looking at a tour of the device. Let's start by going through each device that I mentioned. Camcorders, action cameras, drones, and 360 cameras. Let's talk a little bit about what they do and why you as a photographer or a videographer might be interested in the product. That's what we're trying to get at. Let's start with the action cameras, or as the big company name is known, GoPro. This camera has a total of 2 buttons and then a screen. The screen is going to be your everything, keep that in mind. But the first button's on the very top, that's the capture button. It starts or stops the video or takes your photo for you. And then on the side is the power/toggle button. So it has two features. By holding this button down, you will power on and off the unit, but you can also toggle between time-lapse photo and video on this as well. So the screen's going to allow you to control the following: FPS or frames per second, angle and lens millimeter size. So for example, wide is equal to 13 to 34 millimeters. You can do the video quality on there. So HD, 2.7K, 4K, whatever video quality you like is controlled through the screen. Features like hindsight, which is the ability to focus in on people, hyper smooth, which is camera stability, that you can all control. The front screen on the opposite side of the camera is going to show you the video duration, and it's also going to do a selfie mode so you can see what you're recording as well too. Useful if you're using the camera for selfies or for recording yourself or friends. It's a real easy way of just making sure that you're getting the right footage. The modes that you're mainly going to be looking at are photo, that allows you to capture stills and frames rather than take videos. Time-lapse will record over a duration of time, anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 hours, then it'll play it back in seconds or minutes. With the video, you can record video for whatever duration you want, whatever quality you want, with features like hypersmooth. And here's some clips that I have that I found that I like to show with these action cameras. Now, with all that being said, why use an action camera like this? It would probably be because of one of the videos on the other slide that I just showed and how that's being recorded. That might inspire you to use a camera like this. The thing I tell customers and people all the time, action cameras are meant to be banged around. They're meant to be used. They're waterproof, so you can go swimming with them. They're made for action, so they're meant to take a beating, whether you're skiing, snowboarding, hiking, mountain biking, climbing, whatever it could be. The cameras have mounts and all these different accessories that are available to you, so you can mount it to damn near, sorry, my apologies. You can mount it to darn near anything. It's a really cool, easy to use camera. It's fun. Kids can use it, adults can use it. It's great for traveling, for vacations. It takes great quality images as well too, without necessarily needing to lug around your giant camera setup. So great product, highly recommend it. Action cameras are a great tool to add, especially if you're doing things that might put your real camera, your mirrorless or DSLR, in jeopardy of getting broken or ruined. Let's talk about drones next. They're probably the most popular of this. There's different drone types on the market for different reasons and purposes. I'm going to label all the drones that we're going to be talking about, but I want to state the main drone, the one that you see sold on the consumer level that everyone loves, is the quadcopter. Now, the main brand out there on the market is DJI. We're going to talk about some of the controversies surrounding them in a little bit. So there are other brands available too, especially if you're not able to get these. But they're great products, they're fun to use, they're easy to use, and if used properly, you can get some beautiful footage out of these. Here's the other drones though. Real quick, we'll talk about them one time and I won't bring them back up. You've got the single rotor, which is a helicopter experience. Your quadcopter, which is the most popular drone, a popular style of drone sold on a consumer level. And there's two versions. There's the FPV and the Cine. The FPV needs goggles to fly, but typically only comes as a quadcopter. And the Cine drone flies as a quadcopter, but has a high quality camera and tracking feature on it. Your hexacopter is a 6-bladed copter, great for filming and stability in the air. Fixed wing rotor, more of a plane experience, great for people who want less of a copter and more of a plane type experience. So those are more your RC hobbyists on the fixed wing rotor and even single rotor ones. So if you're really getting into this and you're really trying to become a drone pilot or just like flying, you're going to be looking at quadcopters, and if you get fancy enough with it, maybe even a hexacopter as a professional drone flyer. Controllers. There's 2 types of controllers. There's pros and non-pros. The drone will require some form of screen to be used when flying. DJI, for example, has 2 different types of controllers. One where the phone connects to it, that's your standard, regular, run-of-the-mill controller. And then the Pro controller, which has a screen built into it, so you'll see everything without needing to use your phone and connect to that. Things you can control on the physical drone, or on the controller itself, so not the screen. So control sticks, one joystick will control your up and down movement as well as rotation. The other will control front to backwards and side to side. Antennas, point them outwards. These are your connection point between the drone and the controller. Gimbal dial, rotational control over the drone's camera. Record button, clicking this will record, then take your photo. Focus and shutter, this will give you a refocus on what you're filming or shooting, or it will give you control over the shutter. RTH button, return to home. This gives you the ability to send the drone back to where it took, back to the place it took off from. I do not recommend using this on a moving object. I have been told that this might have changed, but for practice, I recommend only using this feature when you're standing still on the land, only because when I first started flying drones, if you used the RTH button, it would come back to where the drone took off from. So that being said, if you were on a boat and you took off from the middle of the lake and then you drove back to the docks and now you want to hit the RTH button, it might go back to the middle of the lake where it originally took off from, because that's what it's programmed to do. Now on the screen, now whether you're using a Pro controller or the controller you're connecting your phone to, the screen that's attached to your controller will show you the distance from you and the drone, altitude of the drone, the ability to switch between photo and video, map with geofencing and surrounding area, active track, cancel or start, the RTH button or return to home, and immediate land. Now, this is something you should understand as you get into drones. Then I'll mention the DJI stuff at the very end, but the FAA is the Federal Aviation Association. There are 2 types of permits you can purchase. If you have a drone under 249 grams, you do not need a permit of any kind unless you're doing commercial work for business or pay. The best way to ask yourself about that is the video you're making for yourself And are you going to profit off that video? If you say yes to any of those, or you say that you're not making a video for yourself, technically this can be considered business or pay. So for that, you should be doing the part 107, which I'll talk about first. But if your drone is above 249 grams, you should register. You have to register it. If your drone is under 249 grams, you can choose to register your drone. This can be accessed on the FAA.gov website. It costs $5. Includes a course and information needed to be read. After completion, you must clearly write out the permit number on the physical drone. Part 107, you pay $175. You take a course on flying. After completion, you can now do commercial or business-based work with your drone. Really what the course is doing is it's teaching you safety. It's making sure you understand that people can come after you if you hit them, or if something were to malfunction, you're putting people at danger and risk. It's making sure you understand guidelines and different geofencing rules. It's basically an insurance to say, hey, we've told you what you need to know about your drones and flying it responsibly. Please do so as you're trying to make money and further your career. Now, geofencing, I mentioned that word. It's a virtual wall. Your drone will not allow you to push forward or fly in these areas. Typically, the fencing exists around airports, government buildings, national parks, and certain cities and properties. And here's some kind of clips or images to show off what drones are capable of. Now again, why would we use a drone? I think that the images in those little videos I just showed on the other screen show that off really well. This product's made for someone who wants to get a shot that they necessarily just can't with their regular camera. This isn't meant to necessarily replace it. This isn't going to necessarily have better image quality than your high-end mirrorless camera, but it's going to let you get to areas probably never seen before. Where a helicopter with a big camera would have been strapped on 20 years ago, we can now fly a drone up to that same shot and get some beautiful images and video. So again, it's another tool, it's another piece that you can add to your tool belt that adds to your video and photo taking experience and career, that gives you some really amazing and stellar results. Let's talk about camcorders. The next two products, there's not too much to talk with, but we will talk a little bit about it. And again, if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, feel free to chat and I'll answer them live for you. Camcorders are next on the list. Camcorders are slowly but surely going away. You don't see them nearly as much anymore, and that's because the mirrorless cameras have really replaced all of those features on the camera. The reason being is that these are not as powerful as they used to be, because the fact that we can do video and photo on the same camera and execute that in a very nice and professional looking way. But for someone who's looking for the video experience that a camcorder can bring, there really isn't anything quite like that. Here's some controls that you should be aware of. They're pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go through them anyway. You have the power button. You have the record button. You have your zoom toggle. You have a photo button. You have a focus knob or dial, iris or aperture control, shutter speed, white balance, and a few other playback control options as well too.
Sorry about late.
Oh, you're okay. We're almost done anyway.
Oh, okay.
Today's about drones, GoPros, all that other stuff. So we're not really talking about regular cameras today.
We got a drone with us too.
Beautiful.
People online?
There's a few people watching right now online, yeah.
Okay.
So we're talking about camcorders. I have one more thing and then we'll be it for class.
Okay.
So important settings on your camcorder, video quality. So setting your camera for HD, 4K, or any other qualities your camcorder is capable of. Image stabilization, setting your camera to have image stabilization on will ensure you have a non-shaky video. Face detection, most camcorders will have an auto face detection, which depending on what you're filming can help keep them in focus. Frame rate, the rate at which you're capturing the frames of your video. Lesser rate is better for simple or standard videos. Faster rate's better for sports, action, or slow-mo. The bit rate, so setting this helps your camera take in more information. The higher the bit rate is set for, the more info your camera's taking in, the more you have to edit, play with, and do. And then finally, exposure control, which controls the darkness and lightness of your videos as a whole. So these are settings on your camcorders, if you're shooting with one, that you can adjust and play with in order to help your video get a little bit better or just to be more premium.
And the lesser frame rate, is it just for saving space, or is...
Well, no, the frame rate's for video specifically.
Right.
So frame rate is the amount of frames within a second.
Right.
24 frames a second, like we talked about last week, is more ideal for video, for just standard. But if you're going to do things that are faster, sports related, you want a faster or you want a larger frame rate, so that way when you slow the video down, it doesn't look choppy.
But so why is it better to have a slower frame rate on normal videos? Is it just because of the space?
Because you're not really doing much with them. You don't need to slow it down. I mean, they're...
I mean, the quality, I guess my question, the quality is the same, right? So
Quality's going to be the same, but again, if you're doing slow motion, I guess, yeah, you could do you could do the
there's just
120.
no value doing it.
There's no value.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
No value.
I thought maybe it improves the resolution or the...
No, nothing like that. Everything will stay the same there.
Okay.
But why use a camcorder? This is really for people who want something that is more of a video-only experience. You're not interested in photo, you just want to shoot video. You can get more of a professional feel with this type for video work. It's more compact and portable in the hand, typically comes with a strap of some sort. And there's accessories and XLR microphones, grips, different hoods, all sorts of different stuff that you could purchase for this to turn it more into one of those professional cameras you'd see on site at a movie, on a filming for a movie or a show or a production. Lastly, 360 cameras. This is the last camera we have to talk about today. 360 cameras are just what they're saying they are. They are 360-degree cameras. So they're recording in the 360. They work and function like all other action cameras. They have two 180-degree firing cameras. You can use one or both of the cameras on there. If you're shooting with both, you'll obviously get the 360. If not, you get a 180-degree filming view. You can hide or make the selfie stick invisible. So because of the fact that there are two cameras coming together for this product, when the selfie stick gets attached to it, it actually adds a level, or it adds a layer in there that covers or hides the stick, so you can't see it. So it almost feels like the camera's floating. And it creates a third-person view unlike other cameras, and there's no other camera quite like a 360 camera. There's nothing that does what this does. Videos can be viewed on a VR headset if you own one. If not, you can edit them so it makes it a little bit more approachable on a regular phone or a computer or a laptop. And from there, they're small, they're compact, and they're very durable, much like the action cameras. Most of them can go in the water, they can get beat up, they can get thrown around. But it's after the fact what makes them really, really cool and unique. So on the physical app, when you're using it, there's both a desktop app and a phone app that you can download. where you're able to edit and select your viewpoints. Much like the top left of the image is showing there where the finger's scrolling around on the camera or on the phone, that's how you can go through and set your viewpoint on the physical phone. So if you want to focus on a pedestrian who walks past you as you're riding your motorcycle with this camera, you can. If you just want to focus on you as you're riding through and you see the backgrounds and movement and all this other stuff, you can do that too. You can also zoom out completely and make it where it looks like you are completely surrounded by the world that's there and that you're this giant figure on top. So again, it's a fun camera. Their motto is shoot first, think later. So it really is allowing you to just take a photo, or take a video of any kind, and then eventually go back in and play with the settings and tweak it to whatever you need to do. The app is also extremely easy and gives you a tutorial and a walkthrough. There's no extra required subscription unless you want the extra features that they have to offer. But really it is a fun camera, and you see a lot of influencers and modern day photographers trying to add or incorporate this into their work. And why use one of these? I think the idea of shooting first and thinking later is really nice and attractive for a lot of people. So many of us, like, we go on vacation, we do these trips, we want to take photos and video, but we don't really have the time to look at it there. So this gives you the opportunity to take as many photos or videos as you prefer, and then from there go through and actually edit and change them with a very user-friendly app. This also gives you fun content or fun videos that you can use and post for your business or social media. There's just a lot of really cool little things with this that you can do that no other camera offers to users. So why a 360 camera? Because of all of the things I just mentioned, and because it's something that's new and very exciting. And that's really it for you guys. So this class is usually very quick. This last Thursday, we only talked for maybe about 30 minutes or so on this one. But next week is the big one, so we go back to the beginning of the month and next August, for this upcoming August, which is tomorrow. So next Thursday, that should be August 7th, we're going to be doing the intro to cameras. So we're starting off from the very beginning like we just did this last month. So August 6th, I will be here teaching the, make sure it was August 6th again. Did I just say 7th? August 7th, sorry. August 7th, next Thursday, we'll be doing the intro to cameras. That's all I got for you guys. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to chat. And then, yeah, you guys didn't miss too much. We didn't talk too much, but basically it was just drones, kind of understanding the permits, if you need to get one or not, just kind of understanding the use cases of a drone. And then we did action cameras first, talk about, you know, the 2 buttons on the GoPro cameras, what they're good for, their durability, their life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the licenses for drones is, I think, from a certain size, right?
Certain size and what you're doing with it. So the big thing with it, as long as you're under 249 grams and you're not doing work for business or for pay, no permits are required.
Okay.
If it's above 249 grams, you need a permit. You need to register the drone. It's $5. That's the Part 107. And if you're doing any work, and the question I tell people to ask yourself with the drones is, are you doing any work? Are you doing the work for yourself? Or are you getting paid for the work that you're filming? If you answer yes to either of those, or if you say you're not doing the work for yourself, then you do need your Part 107. Otherwise, you can get fined a lot of money for flying, or the drone can be taken away from you. You basically pay $175. You take a course on the flying. After that, you take a test. And once it's all complete, you can now do business work for commercial or for pay.
Yeah. Yep.
But other than that, yeah, quadcopters are the most popular. There are four propellers on the unit. That's one that you'll see on the consumer level all the time. There's also a hexacopter, which is a 6-bladed one. You don't see those often. Those are more for film productions or movie sets. And then you've got ones that look like airplanes and ones that look like actual helicopters. Those are more toys or RCs.
Yeah, we got the plot.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the mini one? So
Yeah.
it's like
Less than 249.
Yeah, so it's under 249 grams, and unless you're going to do work so that way you can get paid for it, you really don't have to do much with it.
Okay, cool. So if we go to Spain, how do we find out?
Well, so you got to look up your countries and the information about the country. Some of these countries will say no, you can't fly at all. Other countries will say you can fly, but you have to be at least 10 meters off the ground. Some other countries will say that you can fly, but you need to register and file a permit claim before you go. So it's always important you look up the country's laws. Like the UK, when I brought mine out to London, I never even used mine when I brought mine out with me. But when I was in the UK for a couple of weeks, I brought it with. They basically said that I could fly it, but I didn't need to register, I didn't need to do anything in advance. But if I was under 5 meters off the ground, I could be fined and the thing could be taken away from me, because technically you can detect faces at 5 meters or anything below 5. So they wanted it where as long as you were 10 meters or 5 meters or up, now you can't see faces or license plates numbers, you can only just see scenery and objects and everything. So every country, every state, every place has their own laws and rules. In the United States, it's the federal government that controls it. So as long as you follow the geofencing rules that are in place, that's placed by the national government, and then no one can really stop you in the United States unless you're doing something illegal with the drone.
So geofencing automatic, it
Yes.
doesn't allow you to.
Geofencing is automatic when you're connected to the internet or to a data of some sort.
Okay.
So with your controller, because you have to put your phone into it, it'll automatically connect to your, obviously your internet. So then from there, it'll know not to push the drone forward.
Yeah. That's cool.
So they give me a warning somewhere, or how does it work?
Usually it just won't even let you fly forward. It'll just
Oh.
stop you
You
completely.
do the internet.
Yeah.
Because
So
GPS, I think, is in the drone itself, right?
exactly, and that's the key with it. So that's where the GPS tracking comes in. So technically they can find you if you are in an area you're not supposed to be in. But as far as it actually stopping and not going through, that's all been based on the location services through both the internet and the GPS. So, but yeah, they're really popular right now, and that's actually something I didn't talk about with everybody. The DJI issue right now. So DJI isn't being allowed to sell or bring their drones into the United States due to some child labor concerns or some concerns over labor. DJI has submitted all the proper paperwork to show that that's not true and it's unfounded, and they've done all the necessary steps, but the government's just kind of dragging its feet on it. The big thing right now is just the fact that there is another company here in the United States that is pushing to get the main government contracts for like military drones and police drones and all this other stuff. The problem is that they don't make consumer level drones. So the story goes that they kind of tossed DJI under the bus so that way DJI could ever be considered for this, even though DJI is not trying to. They're just trying to sell drones to consumers. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 right now. So there's other brands out there. There's ones like Potensic, there's Hover Air, there's Skydio. There's a few other brands out there that are making them. DJI is considered one of the best, and they're kind of cornered the market in this technology. But if you can't find them or you're unable to get your hands on one of these and you like a DJI drone, there are other options available for you. So
Yeah. Well, we found it in DJI, so.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, they're great. I love my DJI drone. It's one of my favorites.
You wanna fly outside?
Cool.
Any questions for me? No, you guys came in at the last minute. I apologize.
No,
we
we're-
just got stuck in traffic.
No, you're okay. Today, I always try to like preface with this one because I'm like, it's really more of just like an informational, not as much teaching. It's more to say, hey, if you're interested in, or like trying to accomplish this, you might be interested in these products because they add. I always joke like another tool to your tool belt. Where if you're, a cinematographer or a photographer, this might add a little bit to your camera arsenal.
Yeah, I saw the thing on the 360 cameras.
Yeah.
I've never heard of those. Neat.
They're cool. Yeah, DJI actually just announced that they're going to be making one now. So GoPro DJI and main company Insta360 are all making 360 cameras that you can use. That's neat.
So if I take a picture from here, how do I upload to?
So because your phone's already connected to it, your phone automatically gets to save that information.
Oh,
If not, you can add a micro SD card on the inside of the drone,
Or
and then it'll save.
do you guys wanna play outside?
Yeah,
Let's go.
can't today, unfortunately, but it is pretty simple. Once you start connecting everything and doing it, the app actually walks you through everything on how to do it.
I think if I saw it correctly, there's like a button on the phone that you just push this.
Yep, and it starts. Yeah, it'll basically. And so Once you get everything set up on there, you hit fly to start, tap to start. It'll say, okay, are you sure you want to start? Make sure everything's clear. You hold it down from there. Once you hold it down, it'll load. The drone then comes up, usually comes out up about maybe that high, 3 feet, 4 feet. And then from there, you can then send it up. So typically the joystick will move so that way one of them goes side to side and forward and back. The other one will then rotate the drone and then will also raise it up and down.
Cool.
So it fly back on backward?
You can do it where that. So there's a button on there that says RTH, and if it doesn't, it'll just show an H button with then like an arrow pointed down or an H button with a circle around it. That's the return to home button, the RTH. And what that does is it'll send the drone back to you, so that way you don't have to fly back.
There's an arrow with an H on it.
Yep, and that's the return to home button.
Do you want also for your camera?
I think we covered everything on the camera.
No, but you assemble it, you want any questions?
I guess the aperture setting, do you have a minute or?
Sure.
So, we did buy the, camera here,
Okay.
and I just started playing with it, but the, let's see here. The original one. Oops. So, the fixed aperture setting, where do you set the aperture?
So, this guy. Okay, that's clear. So, we turn this guy on, we have two options. If we are on automatic, we won't get to use it.
Right.
3, 2, or 1, we can, but those are all customized. So we either want to be in manual or aperture.
Aperture, yep.
So if we're on A for aperture, for this guy, it's going to be one of these two rings that'll do it. So this
okay.
front ring or this back ring.
Got it.
And you'll be able to tell right in the bottom corner which one it is. So it's the back ring for this one. With this kit lens, the furthest you can go is 4.5. Sorry, 3.5.
Okay.
3.5 is the lowest aperture you can hit.
Okay.
It shows it right there. That's at 28 millimeters. Now, this is a variable aperture lens because it's a kit. So as I start to zoom in, you're going to see that it naturally will raise from 3.5 to 5.6 when I'm at the full 70.
Got it, okay.
And then if I go back down, it'll start to move back down to that 3.5.
Okay, cool.
But that's how you control the aperture is through the A, manual, or 1, 2, 3 when you start to customize it. And it's this dial right here that's
Okay.
going to do it. And then now if you're on shutter priority, this dial will still control it as well too. It's not until you're in full manual where then this dial would control shutter, this front dial controls your aperture, and then from there you can use the other buttons on here to control ISO or exposure
That's the
compensation.
rear dial, pretty much it, or whatever you set as a fix.
Exactly. So whatever you're setting as the initial fix, that's going to be that rear dial.
Cool.
And then that other dial with the little plunger that's attached to it is your exposure compensation.
Excellent, okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna start playing with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now it's just to start with it. But yeah, stick with the regular automatic, stick with the program auto, play with that for a while, that'll give you more confidence. And then I really like aperture priority.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
my
also
favorite.
pictures that like how it puts the focus on the
100%.
actual subject.
That, and it'll blur out the background really nicely. You get all the benefits of basically manual, but without having to play with shutter.
Right.
And I only shoot with shutter priority or manual when I'm doing events that involve speed or movement. For the most part, as long as nothing's moving, I don't need to worry too much.
And then the other lens we got was this Tamron.
Yeah.
Is that enough, you think, to be able to like take pictures of birds?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this guy right here is a 70 to 300. So what's nice about a 70 to 300 is that it picks up basically right from where that leaves
Right.
off. That's your portrait, your street photography lens. This is your photo for the distance. I think this is a very good distance too for what it's worth because you're not shooting like, you can get bigger lenses than this that are massive. They have better f-stops on there too, but for what it's worth, this is perfect.
Oh, this was a customer return, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And,
No, this is perfect.
Nothing wrong with it, right?
No, our guys, our service department looks through all this stuff. So if there was something wrong with it too, you just come back to us and we take care of you on that. That wouldn't be a problem. But you know, for
I
the
already put it on, it seems to be, no
play with it, make sure you love it, but no, there should be no issue. But this is a good one for birding. Not as good for sports because it's a little bit slower. So that 3 point. So again, same thing, 4.5 to 6.3. So it's kind of like your other one. The only difference with this is that the distance is fantastic. The weight is really great. And for like birding, it's gonna be sunny. You're gonna have sunlight, or you're gonna have some sort of light. You don't have to worry about it too much.
Okay.
Throw this on when the sun's bright and when you're shooting outside. If you're shooting indoors, I'd recommend keeping it off. Other than that, no, I think it's a great one.
Cool.
It's lightweight, which I think
Yeah, I know,
is
I noticed that it's,
because that's the thing I notice with a lot of customers, like especially with the birding and wildlife, people will buy these big honker lenses and then they're like, oh, it's too heavy, I don't want to carry it when I go somewhere.
I had a Canon where I did that.
Yeah.
So it's,
And then eventually it becomes a paperweight and you're like, I don't want to take this with me anymore, it's just too
yeah,
much.
whereas this one was nice.
Yeah.
Don't get scratched. You got all the covers?
All the covers are on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on in any day you'd like, especially with the drone. If you want to fly one of these days, I'm more than happy to. Just do it in front of the store.
Yeah.
As long as it's not on a Thursday when I teach the class.
Yeah.
Understood. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, guys. Thanks for coming in. As always, good to see you. And if I don't see you next week or the week's after, I'm gonna basically repeat the class, repeat all the classes again. So if I don't see you again,
Well, we missed the first one, so no.
come next week, please. Yeah. 5:30 to 7. I should start in dot. Next week is a long class because it's the intro class. So a lot of questions, a lot of material to get through.
Yeah, you got us sold on this.
It's fun, especially when you really get into it. It is a lot of fun, and I'm a huge fan of photography as a whole. I think it's fun to do, and it's
Look at it.
yeah.
Be careful, honey. That's this nice.
So I brought it back. Probably need to get a case for this.
Case for the.
The drone.
Oh yeah, it doesn't hurt to get one, or at least have something, so that way it's.
Some of the extra blades and stuff.
So look bricker and now replace it.
I bought this one from, we sell a brand called Nanook here, and it's more like a pelican case. It's really nice. It's heavy duty, but it's good for the drone just because like I only bring the drone out for certain occasions. So I know that I grab the suitcase before I leave, and that's where I live, so.
Okay, we'll take a look.
Yeah. Alright, have a good one, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for everybody watching online. As always, we do these classes on Thursdays from 5:30 to 7. Next week is our Intro to Cameras class. We'll start at 5:30 here. We'll run at least until 6:37. Again, next week's a long class just because there is a lot to go over. So keep that in mind if you come sign on and join. But it doesn't look like anybody online has any questions for me, so I'll wrap up there. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for being here. Thanks for a great month. Next month, we'll do it again with our Intro to Cameras. We'll start on Thursday, August 7th. So guys, have a great night.